and children. So when we're talking about value for money, don't just ask how much it did cost. Ask, what are we truly getting for our money? The cheapest option today can become the most expensive mistake tomorrow. So from now on, let's ask the right questions for Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow starting today.
Motorists, certificates of fitness are now digital. Here's how it works. First, make your payment at TAJ inline or online. Then, take your receipt along with your vehicle to an Island Traffic Authority service hub for physical inspection. A valid email address is required to receive your digital fitness. Once the inspection is complete, your certificate number will be sent directly to your email. To access your digital certificate, visit cgds.gov.jm/fitness, enter your certificate number and the chassis number, and view your certificate online. New validity periods are here. New vehicles, 5 years. Vehicles 10 years or less, 3 years. And those older than 10, 1 year. No more paper certificates. Just secure, digital access, anytime, anywhere. For more information, connect with us via email at info@ita.gov.jm or on social media at Island Traffic Authority.
Immerse yourself in the power of the word. PBCJ brings you Word Power, Sundays at 6 a.m. Tune in and be blessed.
Yo, babes, why me I call you so much time and I not get you? Sorry me lick you again yesterday. Yo, me know me mess up, but I can't wear them something there road and I expect me to react. I know I'm jealous and fool and easy to lose my temper, but call me back here. Still not get tired. Hey, girl, think me have to call your phone? You know who you deal with? You think I want to lick me again next time? Eh?
It doesn't have to be this.
Every choice we make can build bridges or burn them. Let's choose peace in our words, our action, and our hearts. Peace begins with you. Together, we can create a brighter and safer future for everyone. Join me. Let's be that change we want to see.
That is right within your sight, Lord. We give you thanks in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Member Clark. And I, on the record, now that the meeting has started, I want to apologize again for the late start. Apologize to the PS and the ministry officials for the late start. And I think I have to use, and I think you would support this, Member Clark, if I use this opportunity to remind MPs, particularly the new MPs, that their first responsibility as a member of Parliament is to attend and participate at Parliament and its committees. I understand this is graduation season, and I think the ministry this ministry more than any other will appreciate the pressure that members of Parliament are under to attend graduations. But when you have 25 or 30 schools in your constituency, it would dominate your time if you were to try to attend all of them. So I really urge my colleagues, as important as these other community events are, etc., it can't be subordinated to your attendance at Parliament and its committees. So we have quite a few apologies for absence. You want to take us through them? Mrs. Honus, Mr. Warmington, Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert told me yesterday. Also, Miss Burchell, who else? Oh, Mr. Newell as well. Mr. Morris, Andrew Morris. Who else am I missing? Full membership. Oh, and Mr. Wavell Hines. All those have given priority to graduations over attendance. Anyway, we move on. Welcome, PS. Welcome to you and to our Executive Director of Heart and all the officials from the ministry. I'm going to, in the interest of your time, because I know the PS herself had a function to go to. And since we've had a late start, I'm going to skip straight from item 4, which I'm on now, my opening remarks, to item 7, to the matters to be discussed. And after we've heard from you, the members can return to deal with our internal administrative matters of the minutes and the matters arising. So without further ado, I will invite the PS, and she will start, as usual, by introducing your team. You have a very large team today, so I don't know if you want to introduce everyone or just the key, the heads of the various areas. And we also have on the agenda, after the tertiary education programs as outlined by the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information and the Heart NSTA Trust, we also have the item of settlements. Do we have persons from Housing Agency of Jamaica? Okay. And then the third item is approval of the annual report of the PAAC. So, PS, I'd invite you, the standard approach that we take is to give you 10 minutes or so to give an overview. I believe there may be a PowerPoint presentation that you have prepared. 10 or 15 minutes, you can go through that, and then typically we would open the floor for questions. I assume there would be two separate presentations, one from the ministry's programs, tertiary programs outside of HEART, and then a separate one for HEART, or is it an integrated?
I'll do the overview, and the technical persons will come.
All right, well, you can determine how you make the presentation. Okay. And I know, as I said, you have we were given a heads up that you had an appointment, so yes. We will, what time do we need to release you by?
12 o'clock the latest.
12 o'clock the latest, okay, I hope we'll be well ahead of that schedule. Yes. All right, thank you. Over to you.
Okay, good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning to my colleague, PS, Arlene Williams, and her team. Chair, we have the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information to include HEART NSTA Trust. It's a department of the ministry. And as you know, I'm Kassan Troop, the Permanent Secretary, and I'm supported by our Assistant Chief Education Officer, Dr. Benjamin, and the technical team, Michelle Williams and Christine French. And of course, I have beside me Dr. Ingleton, who is the Managing Director of HEART NSTA Trust. And she's supported by a large team. I'm going to just run quickly without the titles. Mrs. Christine Gittins, we have Charlene Mohan, we have Nicole Berry, that's Dr. Nicole Berry. We have Ms. Ranique Roden, Mrs. Julia Smiley Green, and we have Kevin Mullins. And these are some of the technical persons who interface with the scholarship initiatives at HEART, and they are here in the event that there's any specific questions that they need to relate to. Yeah. So quickly, Chair, the Tertiary Assistance Program is in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information, is designed to support equitable access to tertiary education. And it is administered by the Ministry of Education by our tertiary branch. We do have a branch in the ministry that is responsible for tertiary education coordination. And of course, that budget member, we have an annual budget in the ministry's budget line for $938 million annually that we expend in support of tertiary pursuit. HEART NSTA Trust also expends a budget of $43.3 million approximately to assist students again in pursuit of tertiary education.
Did you say million?
Million, 44.3 million, and from the ministry's end, we have 938 million in our budget annually. And we offer several programs under this initiative. In the Ministry of Education, through the tertiary branch, we have a group of programs. We have the traditional scholarships, we have the specialized scholarships, we have financial assistance grants, and of course we still have the Jamaica Values and Attitude program, which is a work-study program. And in recent times, I think we started this in 2024, the constituency grants, which we administer with the support of the members of parliament. HEART NSTA Trust, there is the TVET Tertiary Scholarship Program. There is a Graduate Work Experience Program. We have the Hope Youth Summer Work Program. We have tuition-free or heavily subsidized up to levels 4 to 6 training and certification programs. We have the Boost Initiative and Tools for Trade Initiative. So several initiatives, colleagues, members, that we have available to support our young people. So we have several questions that were posed to us, similar questions to both the ministry, tertiary branch, and the HEART NSTA Trust, and we have provided the intimate responses. We are available, Chair, to go through quickly, if you so desire for us.
Yes, you have a little more time, but I see you, it looks like you're reading from a presentation. You didn't share that with us?
Yes.
With the Parliament?
I think it was sent down. I'm not certain if you received it.
I don't know if any other members received it, but I don't, neither myself nor the clerk, the committee clerk.
I can share mine with you?
Yes, if you could just send it to the committee clerk, we would,
yes,
we could circulate it electronically.
Okay. So what we did here in the presentation was just to lift the answers that we provided in the Word document in a summary form. So if they have the Word document, you could still follow. It's the same thing. So for the traditional scholarships, Chair, we have the annual Jamaica scholarships, we have the annual graduate scholarships, we have the University of Technology Open Scholarship, we have the Jamaica Technical High School Scholarship, and of course we have the Jamaica Government Exhibition Scholarship. For the specialized scholarships, Chair, these were designed to respond to the national gaps. So what we did was to look at areas that are necessary for the national priorities and for us to meet the gaps in skills that we observed, especially in the teaching profession, and design some scholarship to attract young people into these programs of study so the country could benefit from the skill set to serve the country's need. And of course, these areas include engineering. So a young person pursuing engineering in Jamaica can get a full scholarship to do so. We have persons who are pursuing the sciences like chemistry and physics. We do have a shortage of those skill areas in Jamaica, and so we have programs for those young people, visual arts and education, special education, and I would like Chair to make a special appeal here. There is a gap in our country, especially when it comes on to occupational therapists and speech therapists for our special education needs students, and in recent times we have included this specialization to attract young persons into this area of study. In addition to that, we have opened it up to graduate opportunities. So those who are teachers already, who have their first degrees in education, have an interest in special education, we are asking them to take use of this opportunity so we can help our young people, our children, who we are in service to. We have areas for geography, industrial education, as I said, physics already, biology, agriculture education, physical education, history. And I said, these are some of the areas that we see a decline in, so we have to respond to that to make sure we have the support in our country to drive these areas. And of course, Chair, there are specific requirements. You know, when we have scholarships, we want to make sure that...
Just to interrupt you for clarity, when you say you see a decline there, is this a decline in the students or a decline in the teachers available for these subjects?
Teachers.
In teachers?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, so there's a decline in the teachers who are the young people coming out of secondary education with an interest in these areas. This was a response in about, I think, 2015, 2016, thereabout, when we wanted to look at differentiated salaries for teachers and to increase the salaries for those areas so we could drive the interest. But coming out of the consultation, the government at the time moved towards scholarships, and this is to better support those areas. So generally speaking, Chair, persons would have to be nationals of our country. You know, they would have to present their birth certificates and their TRN, their acceptance letters. And I want to reiterate this, Chair, the programs of study, these programs must be certified and accredited. We see a number of programs in our country that are not yet accredited, and so scholarship arrangements will not benefit those students. So we want our students to verify with the University Council of Jamaica if these programs are accredited, to make sure that when you complete these programs, they are of value to you in terms of your income and to matriculate into higher programs of study. And a number of our young people, they attach themselves to things, but at the end of the day, it has no value to them in moving forward. And so we use the opportunity to reiterate that. So we need to see the acceptance letters, the transcripts, especially for those who are returning. You know, the GPAs are important for those who are returning. Of course, Chair, depending on the value of what they get, there is a bonding policy guided by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We are guided by that. And so the young people are bonded. We have seen, Chair, and again, as MP and other members of the public, that our young people do not like the sound of bonding, to give back. And so a number of them will opt out or maybe not apply once they see that condition. And we are encouraging our young people that the scholarship opportunities, it's really an investment in them and in our country, and we'd love to see our young people giving back and serving our country as we continue to invest in them. Of
Now,
course,
now
we have...
this bonding, again, just for clarification, will only apply to those persons who are on full scholarships for the degree programs. The smaller scholarship, what I would call grants or the financial assistance grants, those don't come with any
No, so
strings
once
attached,
it exceeds $300,000.
Once it exceeds 300,
Anything below that, no bond.
Okay.
Yes. So, Chair, these are some of the highlights. I will pause here and allow Dr. Ingleton to just give you some more intimate information on the hard programs, and then we can take questions.
So for the Heart NSTA Trust, currently we operate 2 principal programs relevant to the inquiry, and those would be the Tertiary, the TVET Tertiary Scholarship Program, and this provides tuition assistance to eligible persons pursuing accredited tertiary level TVET programs. We also have the Graduate Work Experience Program, which is a paid internship and school to work transition program that provides recent tertiary graduates with structured work experience and improves their prospects of employment. Other than these 2, however, we have other ways in which we support tertiary students. We have the Hope Summer Youth Summer Work Program, which provides short-term placements in public and private sector organizations, and we do have a section where we prioritize our tertiary graduates or individuals doing tertiary education. We also have heavily subsidized programs, and we all know that the tuition at Heart is free, and so levels 4 to 6. Level 6 is heavily subsidized, level 4 to 5 free, and they do get graduate support. And there are other initiatives to include the Boost and the Tools for Trade that we try to ensure that our young people are getting support for. So for the TVET Tertiary Scholarship Program, we would have been operating this program across 15 tertiary institutions to date, and we would have supported a total of 175 students for the tertiary scholarships. We recognize that it is important that we prioritize the sectors that are critical to government, and the government would have articulated the areas of criticality to include construction, manufacturing, logistics, ICT, cybersecurity, agriculture, tourism, creative and cultural industries. And so our programs have been supporting students who are pursuing education in these areas. So that would be my submission, PS, until questions. Thank you.
Before you leave, Dr. Ingleton, what's the budget, the total budget of Heart? We heard you had 44.3 million for scholarships.
Is the overarching budget for scholarships is 44 million approximately. That's it for scholarships.
What's the total budget for Heart?
The total budget for the trust for all our expenditures would be 24 billion.
24 billion. And
yes.
And what do you collect? I know Heart is funded by the
3% levy. Yes, levy on employers.
On employers.
Yes.
What does that approximate the 24 billion?
The 24 billion would be the consolidated budget. What I mean by that, we do have other areas of income. For example, our training-based enterprises that we have are also income generating. So our 24 billion that I reference, that would be our consolidated income.
And how much comes from just the 3%?
Okay, so the 3% budget. This is it? Okay. Okay, so our 3%, okay, thank you so much. Our 3% budget is actually 24,385,000. 3% only.
Right. So basically the entire budget then is effectively funded from the 3%. I just wanted to
Yes, it is about, I would say that it is about 97% of our budget.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, back to you, PS.
Chair and members, this is really the overview. We have the specifics in the document submitted, so we're open now, members, for questions.
Okay. Similarly, just for clarification, for open for questions, the overall budget of the Ministry of Education?
Well, we have, I think we have about 202 billion this year.
And that includes the 24 billion?
No, heart budget
separate
is separate.
from heart.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Clark.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the person.
Dr. Ingleton?
Dr. Ingleton?
Oh, Dr. Ingleton.
Okay.
And you have some responsibility for heart.
I have responsibility for Heart Trust, yes.
The question I want to ask, Mr. Chairman, does heart steps outside of the normal realm and to do niche market, training for areas that we find because of the changing world to persons within Jamaica?
Okay, so I would answer that member by indicating that we do have a mandate for the TVET ecosystem, which is a really wide system. So once the particular need is aligned to TVET, we do support.
The reason for the question is two-part, Mr. Chairman. One, that I would be very, very close to the pharmaceutical area. Yes. And from time to time, there is a group in Montego Bay that would be reaching out to me, asking me if there could be a program. And I've mentioned it here on many occasions whenever you guys are here with us. But I still not seen the move, and that is the move to train the pharmaceutical technicians. I would have mentioned that the team, they are willing to write or to assist you in writing the program and to help lecture the program, because there is that need. What is happening is that, as it is said to me, that they have to do in-house training. And so they are willing, because there is a need for it, they are willing to assist you, madam, in doing the program and having them, because you train them and they move on.
Yes.
They're not afraid of that, but they want to be a part of the situation. I do.
Well, certainly that is something that we can facilitate. Pharmaceuticals, we do support the nursing profession as well, and there is alignment, certainly, between the nursing profession and individuals who have interest in pharmacy. So with that information that you have provided, we can definitely work with them. We do have a curriculum unit that can work with them in terms of building out a program and ensuring that.
I am willing to pass information to you outside, or if you have to do it here, wherever.
Yes,
but I do hope that this response that you're giving me, yes, it will not go the way as the response that had been given to me before.
It will not. I can guarantee that. We can support that. That's not a challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That your question, and since I don't see anybody else, Dr. Dawes, there's a mic turned on to your right. Yep, thank you. Just turn it off for me. Go ahead, Dr. Dawes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is related to the Hope Youth Summer Work Program. I see where you supported 6,678 participants between 2021 to 2025.
Yes.
Total 278 million.
Yes.
How do you get these, the names, or where are the recommendations coming from? I know that as a member of parliament, I got a grand total of 5.
Yes.
If we're looking at this across the board, I would say MPs would be recommending 5 times 63 constituencies. Yes. Where do the bulk of your summer work program workers come from?
Thank you so much for that, member. Yes, so we do advertise. So we do have the priority for MPs and constituencies, but we do advertise broadly. So we have individuals applying because we have 3 levels, 4th to 5th form, 5th to 6th form, and tertiary. So we have schools that are applying. We have individuals in churches that are applying. We have regular parents in their homes who want their children to be working for the summer who are applying. So we do get a lot of applications, and we try our best to prioritize our parliamentarians and members of various constituencies, but it is not confined only to the 63 constituencies in terms of the parliamentary makeup. Parents from, it's just regular people. It's broadly advertised on radio, social media. We do it to the Gleaner, the Observer, in schools, in churches. So we get a flood business places. Once you have a child, you want them to be engaged across the summer. And so we do make it broad and try to engage as many Jamaicans as possible.
So
that's what we do.
So yes. The ratio is pretty much majority are direct applicants versus recommendations. It's safe to say that only about 315 persons were submitted by parliamentarians.
It would be safe to say that based on the numbers that we do give parliamentarians specific numbers. Yeah. We do give a quota for parliamentarians, so yes.
But outside of that quota, can we, because we do get a lot of requests from constituents, and yes. It's difficult to say we only have 5.
We normally accommodate. So once you make a contact, and our Hope Summer Youth representative is here, Ms. Ranique Roden, and so Ms. Ranique, you can put your hand up so everybody can see you. Once a contact is made, we do everything to ensure that the individuals are properly placed, because there are some MPs too who might not need the 5 because their persons may be getting through to the regular general channel. So once it is that you have someone who did not get through, who you want to be in, we do make provisions for those persons.
Okay, thanks.
And they can apply online, or they can come to the parish office. They can drop their application at the head office. Once we get it, we ensure that we make a placement for them.
Okay.
Our quota this year, though, was 15, so I'm not sure if you got that, but we prioritized about 15 this year for MPs.
I didn't get 15. I didn't get 15.
Perhaps previous years it was less.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
One standard.
It's 5.
Ms. Roden?
Madam, Dr. It's
15.
Well, we got 5.
You got 5?
Yes. Something that we need to look into. So the permanent secretary through the chair, your priority areas.
Yes.
I don't see nursing on it, and we are in dire need of nursing. I would take a scholarship for a nurse over a historian, and I'm a fan of history myself.
I do understand that, member, but the Ministry of Health manages the scholarships for the nurses.
Completely, okay.
Yes.
The other concern I have is JAMVAT, and I have a personal attachment to JAMVAT, having been one, I think I'm in the first batch to have gotten a JAMVAT scholarship or grant, if you may, and I was actually one who delivered the thank you address at Jamaica Conference Center. Wow. I'm not going to divulge my age as to when that came in. But I noticed a decline in the numbers for JAMVAT. Can you say why is it that we are not work-oriented? People just want a handout of a scholarship. What is it exactly that's happening with JAMVAT? I thought it was a pretty good program that built character.
Yes, we do believe it's a very good program, but the young people are different today. We find that once they're asked to be bonded or to give community service, they run for the other opportunities that do not ask for those conditions. Even for the scholarships, I must say, when we advertise and they apply and so forth, we still see a number of persons not interested because of the bonding. And then when they get to tertiary and it is time for exams, probably you are experiencing it too as MP. You see everybody scurrying for assistance. They would have allowed the timelines to pass and so forth. They are in crisis, and then they keep calling, and MPs reach out to us, and we try our very best to speak with the universities and to incorporate them as best as we can to offer support to allow them to complete their exams, especially because if you miss that series of exams, you are delayed in the completion of your programs. But it is something that we need to address. The young people committing to give back is a challenge in our country.
I'm not sure if you're the right person I should be directing this suggestion to, since it's policy, but could the MPs get a JAMVAT allocation so that when somebody comes to the office, we direct them to this program rather than just the grants program, in addition to the constituency grants?
Well, certainly, MP, you can direct them to us because it's online. Everything is open. We have a platform and an electronic process. I can share with you the details. I'll just get the website address before I leave to share it publicly as well. And they go online and they apply. And it's pretty easy because, as I said, the allocation is there. And as you have seen from the report, what we have to be doing is to use the excess that is not utilized into other programs where we see the interest, just to make sure we expend the budget and give everybody an opportunity. So I will make an announcement before I leave with the website and all the programs that are available, again, where you can direct the young people in the same way that you have been doing so with the constituency grants. And we still see the struggles with that, as you realize.
If I could just piggyback on that, and not cutting you off if you weren't finished, but I have struggled to get information about the heart programs available at Newport, which is the major, well, the only training facility that we have in my constituency. And it's been a real challenge from I was elected. I've been trying to get, and it's not that I get no response, but it's, the programs change from year to year, and there's, sometimes we offer this, sometimes we don't offer this, and it's very hard to pin down to be able to direct people in a confident way to what is available. Is there some website? Yes. Or I've contacted the people, the administrators at that facility, but it seems that some of these curriculum decisions are outside of their control, and it varies. The offerings vary from year to year. That's question one. The second question really is taking off from Mr. Clark's observation to do with the pharmaceutical industry, but I have a more general observation. And I'm not knocking Hart. I think Hart has made a great contribution since it was introduced in the 80s. However, the times have changed. And to have this behemoth centrally planning training for employers at a time when the world and economies are very dynamic. Jobs and types of jobs and training needs are evolving every few months, particularly with the introduction of artificial intelligence, etc., and the widespread adoption in entities. I've often made this suggestion, and I make this suggestion to you now. The grants, the scholarships are minuscule compared with the budget of Hart. Why don't Hart support employers, either individual employers or associations, say the pharmacists or the hotel association, etc., in providing funding for training rather than trying to deliver training, which seems to be your 98% or 99% of what you do now, which would give a lot more flexibility. It would allow employers to determine, and I'm not talking that you just hand them money, but you match the money that they're spending in training on a dollar-for-dollar basis. And that way you can be sure that what you're responding to is real needs of the employers, real upskilling of their workforce, etc. You have to.
So much for that. So let me do the first one first. That's Newport is Region 5 Manchester. So we can streamline that communication for you. We have changed our intake periods because before individuals could just enter HEART at any time during the year. And certainly you could see that scheduling challenge, how enrollment would not necessarily be aligned to certification given that you're entering at any time during the year. And so we have streamlined our approaches now to have fixed intake periods. So we have, just like a university, however, we have 3 times. We have intake for May, intake for September, intake for January. So individuals can be more coordinated. Your program lasts 8 months. You know exactly if you come in May, when that's going to end. It helps us to streamline our approaches. It helps us even with our budget and just how we administer.
But the different intakes are for different programs?
Not necessarily, for programs right across the organization. So it's not that you have an intake for, let's say, agriculture in May, but it's not offered in September. No. Right throughout the life cycle of the year, we can have individuals coming in May, September, January for any program that is on our offering.
At that institute, at that training?
At the specific training institution.
Right.
So we would be happy to work with your individuals to streamline that communication so that you can provide that to your constituents in a more organized way for them to understand that you may have wanted to go in October, but you'd have missed the intake for October because that was September, so you have to go in January. And we can do things with and for you across the October to January because we have multiple programs in HEART that could support an individual instead of them sitting at home waiting on January. There are other ways that we can engage them until they can actually enter the program they want to be in, and all of that at no cost to them. So we can definitely work with your constituents to have them on board. Okay. In terms of the budget, no, critical question. I can understand the 44 million vis-a-vis a 25.4 billion, but the 44 million is specific to tertiary scholarships. If we should calculate what we do across the boost, what we do across the tools for trade, what we do across the summer work, what we do across the levels 4 to 6, which are programs that essentially that are dominant, that's the bulk of what we do, we would exceed that. As a matter of fact, the training budget of HEART is essentially about 44% of our expenditure. Training is where the money is really spent in the trust. But I do understand what you are saying in terms of providing direct support to employers. We do support through what we call the community training interventions, where we provide subventions for individuals to operate training enterprises across Jamaica, and we work with about 80 of them. We do support businesses that come in asking for upskilling of their workers, so that is there as well. And it's not ad hoc, it's very organized. If it is that you have a business, you want individuals in, let us say, construction to be supported, we do train them and place them in your organization. So there are multiple ways, and I'm sure any one of my colleagues could jump in and support in terms of the different things that we do to support the businesses. We do provide funding as well to individuals who want to start a business and entrepreneurship. We provide them with $1 million in inputs to start up, and essentially take them through the process in terms of companies' office registration. We walk them through that. We actually handhold them until their business reaches a state of flourishing. There's also the incubation program, where we provide a space for you to host your business so you don't have to pay rent. We support you in getting clients. We work with you for your social media. And so a lot of small businesses across Jamaica are being built through the support of HEART. But your suggestion that you would have given, I would have heard it before in terms of public discourses, and it is something that we're actively looking at to see how we can streamline.
Could I suggest that when you're doing the hand-holding, that you include MPs? I would appreciate some hand-holding too, because as you're just describing, HEART has such a myriad of programs that it would take quite a bit of time to figure out all the opportunities and all the points of intersection. We are what I would call a one-stop shop for our
Constituents, yes.
They tend to come to the MP's office
for everything.
Before, exactly. They will, and if, you know, my colleagues, we all have full-time staff at our office. So if we can train them or give them all the information necessary, they would be a useful even channel through which people could be directed to heart if they had a thorough understanding of all the opportunities available. Because on a daily basis, and you'd be surprised, we had the experience of the Solidarity Program, which was offered well over a year ago, and these were grants. And many people didn't access it or weren't able to access it. The budget wasn't exhausted. When the ministry asked me to facilitate, not to select, but just to facilitate, they're having a team at my office. We had 400 and odd persons signed up, of which, you know, 3/4 of them seem to have got through on the program. So the culture,
yes.
You know, and it wasn't even my staff, it was the Ministry of Labour and Social Security who sent staff there. But the culture is to come to an MP's office or come to an MP seeking information or assistance of one kind or the other. So if you could create some information packages for us, you know, I'm not interested in distributing anything myself, but if I want to be able to point constituents, especially the young people, to the right area, because they get frustrated quickly.
They do.
You know, they tell you they go here and they go there and they didn't get a response and they give up. They didn't.
So I'll tell you how we're solving that. And it's very interesting that you said it here, because we have now built out our stakeholder engagement strategy, and our first port of call is MPs. So we will be doing an island-wide stakeholder consultation beginning with constituents. So we will be at the constituency offices because we know that is where the young people come. So we will get the contact of all the individuals in the individual constituencies. They will have our contact. So when a student comes or a prospective student comes, you know exactly who to call, and everything will be streamlined. So your constituency office will have the direct contact of the individuals in that constituency who work at heart, who deal with program offerings and engagement, and we will do that for all 63 constituencies. So you will see that advert going out, and we will use this forum as well, because we normally send a letter to the MPs when they meet at Parliament. So you will get that letter to tell you when your constituency will be engaged, so that you can get your people ready, as in the individuals who work directly with you, to be there on spot when we come to make this happen.
That would be very welcome.
Thank you.
I think I can speak on behalf of all my colleagues in that regard.
Yes.
Mr. Clark, do you have another question?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You know, this session thus far has been very enlightening. You notice all of us sitting and listening attentively. Well, Mr. Chairman, I have a number of areas I want to touch on. I want to ask a question first. Does Education Ministry, and this is not for me, but for John Publica, we're still live. Does education still, the ministry has anything to do with information?
Yes, member.
Fine. And so we would have a new lease on GIS.
Yes, member.
I remember times gone by, GIS used to be the first point in bringing information to this country. I would love to see we use that avenue once again, because all that Dr. Ingleton is saying to us is information really that is somewhat new to us. Just imagine the constituency that we serve.
Yes.
And so we have to bring it to them, because once again, we are in the era
of communication.
You need to develop something that gets the minds of the young people.
Yes.
You have to attack it from that point. 2, I have been lamenting before, and I'm saying it once again. Is it too hard, Mr. Chairman, to get heart will start taking student or school leavers, as it is said, after leaving school. How about we introduce level 1, the first tier of any extracurricular trade, job, whatever we want to call it, and put it in the high school at grade 10, 4th form, 11. And so when they are leaving high school, they are not only leaving with a school leaving certificate, but also a level 1 from heart. And then you can encourage them, Mr. Chairman, to do the level 2, which is going to be easier because they are already with a level 1. What we find is that after leaving school, they didn't do well for whatever reason. We are trying to get them back into the school system. It's very hard.
Well, some principals I know, the PS and I were at the graduation of New Forest High last year, and that particular principal had a very integrated program where different streams, let's call it, within the system, and some were engaged in this already.
Let us encourage it through heart education ministry on a wider scale, so it becomes a part of the high school, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, may I add?
Yes, go ahead.
So just to share it, member, this is integrated in our high schools. In fact, I have numbers here. For certification, we have since April 2022 to January 2026, we have certified secondary students in levels 2, because we promote level 2 in our secondary school.
What's the number? What is the number?
13,215 secondary level students have been certified, and this year, because of the promotion, we have 25,789 high school students who are registered to sit level 2 exams.
Madam, that sounds like one per high school.
So,
sorry.
How many said this year?
I'm just saying,
our grade 11 cohort is 30,000 students.
And how many do you have?
This year we have 25,000.
30,000 right across the country?
Yes, each cohort.
No, in that cohort.
Yes, and this year for NCT vet level 2, we have 25,789 students registered for exams.
And that's unique students, not one student could be registered for 3 sets of exams.
That's unique.
That's unique students. So that's literally more than 80%.
Because we have been promoting leaving high school with a skill, and it is the NCT vet level 2 that we have been promoting.
Well, you know,
and
PS,
the City and Guilds Skills Proficiency
a lot
Award.
of these things are kept secret because you think as MPs we would be more likely to be aware of it than most.
I need to go back to my high schools, especially those in my constituency, and to say, how is it that I don't know, but yet you ask me for everything else? So, thanks, madam. The next question I want to raise, and I hope that the gentleman from Cornwall Court Citizen Association is watching, because he would have raised this question.
Are you getting a bit parochial
no, not, it is a national question, but in particular this gentleman, because he was the one that brought it to my awareness. And he was very adamant. The age group for the summer programs. What is the age group that a high school student can start doing summer program work?
Grade 4th form. We start at 4th form.
Age.
Which is grade 10.
16.
Now I want to make sure, because he was very uptight to the fact that his daughter is 16 years old, and he said that they have turned down the situation.
The MPs seem to be of the opinion that the age group is higher.
But it is
Generally, speaking, member. Oh, sorry. For members, Heart specializes in 17 up.
Yes.
But if we have grade 10 students in the program, we're talking about 16, 17, and grade 11 would be 17, 18.
Yes.
I am hearing you, and you're splitting 11 graders as against 10 graders. What I really want is a standard set. Are we taking 16 and up? Because what you find, you still have students, for whatever reason, at 16 years, still in 11th grade.
Yes.
So I'm saying to you, give us that number, because what he wants and the others want to know, can a 16-year-old be employed in the summer program?
Age 17 for the Heart NSTA Trust. Age
So no
17.
16?
No.
17 and up.
17 and up. That, well, the mandate of the trust via Act is 17 years old. So that's where we engage
So basically,
them.
any program
Yes,
from
17.
Heart would be
Yes.
17. Oh.
PS, through you to Doctor, what has happened to the on-site certification?
On-site certification.
Meaning if a plumber or a mason is on site doing a job that you think.
That is that's the prior learning assessment. So yes, that is very active in the Heart NSTA Trust. We are on the road.
Sure?
Yes, 100%
What's your number?
sure.
What's your number for St. James?
I'm sure, member, you would appreciate that I wouldn't have
You don't
that
have
number
it
at hand.
hand.
Yes.
I would love for you to make it available, because I have concerns.
Yes, I can. But
So please.
the constituents, and when we do our
This is a
stakeholder
parish now.
yes, engagement across St. James, we can twin our stakeholder engagement with a PLAR because we have that flexibility. So whilst we're engaging, we can bring in our mobile unit, because what we do, we go in the communities. If it is that you're a plumber, an electrician, a mason, you've been doing it for years, we do not expect you to come and sit in a classroom. We take the products to you on site and we do your assessment. If it is that there's a gap, we will enroll you in a short-term program to fill that gap. We get testimonials from your clients that you would have supported across the years. Sometimes we ask you for a portfolio of your work because we want to develop, that will help you to develop that level of professionalism as you go along.
You see,
So yes.
Doc, theoretically, you sound real flowing. You're flowing like a stream. But trust me,
it happens.
For me, who is wading in the stream, it's not so pretty on my side.
I am interested to see those numbers as well.
Yes, so I did get the numbers.
Mr. Chairman.
Not just for St. James, but for all the parishes.
I did get the numbers for the country, which is, well, I don't have the breakout for parishes, but I can certainly provide that. So our total is 24,173 for prior learning across the country.
So over what period of time?
For the last financial year.
24,173.
Divide by 14.
Well, we wouldn't have the specific for you, member. I'm sure
No,
you can
I'm
appreciate
not
it.
straight across the board, 14 parishes.
Little under 2,000, but that
And that's
sounds...
one program, that's one way of reaching. That's one access point.
So this is the on-the-job certification?
No, this is a prior learning where you are already skilled, you're already an electrician, but you don't have certification.
So if you had somebody, say, on a construction site who had been working as a mason, may have started as a laborer, but upgraded themselves to a mason through apprenticeship.
Yes.
You could come on that construction site and assess them.
And we do get calls to come on sites.
And is that called the prior learning program?
That is the same prior learning assessment. It's called PLAR, prior learning assessment and recognition. So we do get calls to come on site. We do get calls from time to time from contractors.
Doctor, fine.
Yes.
Whilst you may get calls from time to time, what about the government-run programs that would have gone or slated over an extended period of time? For example, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road. We have masons and other persons.
We have them. We are there. We are very much. We did that. Yes, we were very much involved in that.
The country needs to know that.
Yes, yes.
Please.
Jamaica, we were very, very much involved in that. The bridge program is
the country needs to know that.
So I'm making a plug for the country now. The bridge program, right? The bridge where we had the hurricane in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. We have Heart students on those roofs repairing them.
So
working with the other contractors. Yes.
Mr. Clark and I don't normally agree on most things at this meeting, but I must tell you, listening to you versus the reality that is out there that I meet on the ground, yes. I'm struggling. I've heard statistics, for example.
Mr. Chairman, don't kill it.
I've heard statistics, for example, that 2/3 of the Jamaican workforce is not certified. I've heard those statistics. I want to first ask you, is that correct? Do you have, and if yes, then, you know, Heart has been around for, you know, 40 odd years, I think. Why would we not have a greater percentage of our workforce certified?
What I can say for sure, member, is that the statistics that we have in the trust in terms of the last financial year, and Mrs. Gittins, you can give me the exact number whilst on mic, but we would have certified over 55,000 in the last financial year. I am not sure, PS, what was that? And 13,000 from the high school. That is our certification number in the last financial year, and that is credible that we can stand by.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't jibe with the statistics, the overall statistics that we hear. As I said, the last figure I heard, and it may be a couple of years old, but it wouldn't be far from the truth, is that the 60% of our workforce are uncertified.
Well, you know, there are a myriad of variables, and a critical variable that I think that we have to examine is the migration variable. We do have that. We also have the variable where heart-certified workers are employable across the world. The certification is strong. Yes, it has portability, and once they know that you are heart certified, they are recruiting you, and they're doing that rigorously. So there is that variable as well. The different levels as well. Numbers may be coming across in terms of levels. A level 2, an individual at level 2 maybe has a totally different competency level than an individual at level 3 or 4.
So when they talk about the workforce being certified, yes. I don't think at level 1 would be considered certified. Is it a level 3 or 4? What would be qualified?
I would say it would be a level 2 and up, because level 1 would be very basic.
Right.
Yes.
So when they talk about certification of the workforce, it would be level 2 and up.
Yes.
And do you have that global figure? I mean, I would think it would be in Heart's interest to survey nationally to be able to have their own sense. If even where to offer your programs, where it's most needed, etc. Do you have that figure of the workforce? What percentage of the workforce is at level 2 or up? Heart or some other professional certification?
Okay, so what we would have in the coffers of the trust would be Heart's data. We know that we are the largest provider of TVET, but we're not the only provider. So we would have our data in terms of certification. But as I indicated before, member, I think there are some variables. There are individuals working in areas other than what they're certified, depending on where they can get perhaps
employment.
Right.
But I'm really just trying to get that.
Yeah, we can get you the data, because the certifying body is the NCTVET, and they certify the programs for the schools and Heart. So we can get that global
and
picture.
Nobody from NCTVET is here today?
No, not today, but I'll search through my thing in the meantime to see if I can get some numbers.
From Statin.
Yes, and if you don't get it by the end of the meeting, you can just send it to the committee clerk, and they'll distribute it to all the members. All right, I see Mr. Phillips.
Chair,
and then Mr. Hines.
As was said by Member Clark, I mean, the programs, I would support Doc by saying that if you know, you know, in the sense that depending on the relationship you really have with your parish office, that you will have that relationship, you know the programs. The only challenge that I have is the inconsistency.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So depending on which staff is there, what programs, there's this push. The challenge I also see is when you're doing your community interventions.
Yes.
Us MPs come in on the back end because we're told about it on the back end. And many a times, just by experience, a lot of them are not successful.
Okay.
And you mentioned it. It's just the mindset of the generation now, even when you go to their doorstep. Yes. I've seen community interventions, only 2 people sign up. Yes. You walk the community for the whole day. Yes. You might sign up people, but are they really interested? Yes. You know, so I think, you know, we have the adage, if you keep on doing things the same way and expecting a different result,
yes.
One, you're wasting the time of your own officers by doing that, marching around all day, just signing up people and not getting.
Yes,
and the intervention that you speak of with the MPs, it has to be different.
Yes, yes.
Right? Because especially like now when we're doing back to school, a lot of us who may sit in office, we get those students that are even unsure of what they're going to do. They can't even afford to do tertiary for the full, but they want something to do until.
Until, yes.
So what are the programs that we can suggest that they do? So, you know, if you're going to just bundle us up with that community intervention, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Right? So you have to
engage. Yes.
Assign an officer to each constituency that relate to the constituency offices.
Specifically. Yes.
So that my secretary can know that this is the individual that I call, or if that individual has a program, she's dealing with the constituency. Just like with SDC, we have different officers for different areas. Our divisions are community boundaries within the constituency, and you deal with that officer and that officer alone. So the intervention has to be differently in how it is. I find it very difficult when we have, because as MPs we have different construction programs taking place, right? And they generally go through an agency of the state. We can't implement those programs. There should be some line of communication with heart, so that once that agency, be it the municipal council or whichever agency, because we tend to employ people from within the communities on these programs, that a certification is done at the same time. Because we are not really thinking, once the state agency has taken it over, we are only there to monitor that our money is spent, or the constituency's money, the taxpayers' money is spent properly in the way that it ought to. But the relationship with the workers is really the state agency that does. I know that you have the program in schools with the certification. I think the challenge that we face, and if you look at it now, one, we have a falling school population, right? The sixth form program, I'm finding that less and less students, actually, I can speak of my constituency, right? That's transitioning from the fifth form, grade, 10? Right, to transitioning. So the sixth form cohort is small, especially at the schools in my own constituency. But yeah, meaning transitioning from fifth form to sixth form, right? But the percentage of those actually going on to tertiary, I've seen an increase in it, but what happened to those who are not transitioning? And I think something has to be organized with the schools, because we lose contact with them, you know, having to keep track of who is not transitioning from who is. But how is it that you transition them from that level 1, level 2, going to a level 3, and continuing if they're not going on to tertiary? Because it cannot be that we keep on saying, employers are saying out there, that they can't find skilled laborers. You are giving me numbers, but it is still an issue out there. So how it is that you get them to transition from high school to finish up a program. And many a times, a lot of the programs, when you have students leaving Manchester having to go to Junction, or even leaving northern Manchester to go to south, the transportation costs alone, even though they do get a stipend, is prohibitive. I have seen students saying they prefer to not continue with the program because that subsistence that they get is just not adequate enough to come from a comfort hall, which is bordering with Balaclava, to go to South Manchester, to go, or even to Porus. So we have to look at the variables and tweak it, to keep that student in and keep them interested. Because if we keep on just doing a one-size-fits-all, you understand what the results will be.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, just to add to that point, there's a disconnect between what the employers tell us and what we're hearing. I mean, because if you're really saying that 55,000, I think was the figure you said was certified in the last financial year, in 1 year, but yet the employers, when we speak with the GHTA, when we speak with the Chamber of Commerce, the Manufacturers Association, they say that qualified workforce is a major constraint. And so there is I'm trying to reconcile the gap between the numbers you're giving us and what we're hearing from employers. They say this is a real constraint, and yeah, you want to come back?
It would be interesting to find out what percentage of those who enter actually stop at level 2, and those who actually continue, because level 2, as I said, yes, but it is still at ground level.
Still at ground level.
So you may
maybe the vast majority of those numbers are at the lower levels.
Exactly,
and what they need now are. Is it level 4 that's considered the equivalent of a
associate? Yes.
Level 4 is considered equivalent of an associate degree.
Yes.
And what's the equivalent of a degree?
The degree would be level 5.
Would be level 5.
Yes.
Okay.
And again,
so maybe what we could ask you to do, since you've given us some figures here, is break out that 55,000 between level 1, 2, 3, 4.
We can do that.
Because that may help explain the gap that from what we hear about from employers and what we're hearing from you.
And again, just from experience, I found more individuals coming to the constituency office seeking information, rehat, until this free program is, and the continuation of them coming to ask for assistance too. And where we used to do a little stipend from our CDF to help them.
Yes.
This free, I find that those seeking to go on to hard no longer come to the office at all. So we can't help to guide them.
Isn't that a good thing in some way?
The thing is,
more information,
when they come through our office,
yes,
we tend to follow through with them.
Oh, okay, understood.
To ensure, so if a student doesn't come the second year and we help them in the first year, then we would have a list of them and said, hey, but we helped you with year 1. So what happened to year 2? Because as far as I'm concerned, you're wasting the taxpayers' money.
Yes.
And then we will then encourage them too. So even if they come to you, if you can break out a list.
You need a database.
A database.
Yes.
From constituency by constituency to say these are the persons who come from that geographic zone of students. Then we also can.
That would give you more information, even for the industry.
I know Mr. Hines
certainly
has to leave, and he has been trying to get in a question. And correct the record, Mr. Hines' apology was that he had to leave early, not that he wasn't attending at all.
Not this time around.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. All right. My question is around the funding model you have for the skills training centers. How does that work? My first question.
Okay, so that I will interpret it as the community training interventions that we have. So we have a subvention model. Community training interventions are independent entities that would decide that I want to take on skills training in a particular area and I'm providing the support for my community. The programs are accredited, they're vetted. We work with them through our curriculum office and they're certified by the NCT vet. However, in terms of the funding, it's a subvention. So we are not in charge of them. We're not in charge of their governance. We do not select their staff. We do not select how they manage their affairs. What we do is to ensure that the programs are accredited. There is the route to certification, and we monitor as we go along to ensure quality. In terms of the funding, we provide them with a percentage of their operational budget. What we find that happen in a lot of the cases is that the funding that we provide for their operational budget in some cases becomes the 100% of what they do. So if it is that we're giving a subvention, it cannot manage the entire program. Their responsibility would be to fund the rest of it, because if we're funding all of it, then it is a fully funded, heart-owned institution, which it is not. So we do find that with a lot of the community training interventions, they manage sometimes from the subvention and not necessarily the other funding that they are to provide. So we do encourage them to ensure that their operational budget is intact, and so that when we do send them that subvention, it's basically just a piece of what they would need is complementary so that they can manage for the year. So that is the model that we offer. But those are some of the challenges in terms of our subvention at times becoming 100% of their operational budget.
Okay, thank you for that. Is the subvention based on results?
Okay, so certainly we have a responsibility to ensure that the funds that we're sending through are properly utilized, and we would have seen that as well through recommendations from our Auditor General, that the funds that you're sending through, you must be able to monitor and indicate that they are being used for what you would have indicated that they're to be used for. So yes, we do look at the results to see how many you're certifying, how many you're enrolling, to ensure that we have the accountability that we need to have for the funding and the programs.
Is there any incentive in it for the people who are operating these centers if they certify more than what you expect them to certify?
No, there is no incentive. Our accountabilities would rest at the subvention that we provide and the monitoring that we ensure there is quality. But you do not get an extra team if it is that you would have over-certified.
I think it's a performance incentive the member is talking to. So you are only funding enrollment, not outcomes. This is what the point I think he's trying to get. Because we hear, again, reports over the years that a lot of people enroll, but a much smaller percentage are actually certified.
So we do give them a target. So it's rare that you will have an enrollment target that is equal to a certification target. So sometimes it's 70%, 80%. And that is what we monitor, because we have to ensure that if it is that you're taking in 40 students, we expect that you should be graduating at least 25 students for us to be able to say the monies are really properly spent. So we do monitor them in terms of the target that we give them for certification, but it's never equal to the enrollment target.
Okay, thanks. Do you pay the trainers at the centers the same fee as you do at your central training centers? Like, for instance, I am from Northern Clarendon, so we have a center in Crooked River Baptist area, and we're trying to extend it to the Kellits area, Kellits proper. Do you pay the persons the same amount you will pay people at the Ebony Park Center?
Okay, excellent. So that is the difference. We do not manage payments. We do not manage governance. We do not manage operations. We give them a subvention based on their operation budget, and they are fully in charge. So they are not heart-owned institutions. Ebony Park is a heart-owned institution. They're on our payroll. They are accountable in terms of our performance management system and everything. They are full members of staff. Community training interventions are support entities, they are partnering entities that we provide a subset of funds to for them to operate. And they do so on their own terms in terms of hiring, firing, performance management, etc.
All right. So I'm going to ask a question on the back of what the chairman said about 10 minutes ago about preparing persons for the job market. I am from Northern Clarendon again, and we are a farming constituency, 90%, and they are doing very well there. And you have Ebony Park, which is down...
Right down the road. There.
On the plains,
on
and
the
we're in the
plains.
hills, right. Do you mandate that Ebony Park must go to the farming communities of Northern Clarendon, or of Clarendon, or the equivalent in other parishes, to ensure that persons are properly trained here, not just to till the soil, but to fix equipment, to do whatever the new modules and styles of farming are? Do you mandate those things?
Okay, thank you so much. So Ebony Park is a very, very active heart institution in Clarendon. They have a responsibility for training in agriculture, so they have to go on the road and get individuals in this space. We're also residential for some programs, so we do have students living on campus, take them from the different communities in the hills and have them residential, so that it's because you know that it would be difficult to get into Ebony Park based on the terrain of Clarendon. So certainly we do have residential students, and we are trying to find we are very targeted in ensuring that we get individuals who have the experience in farming or whose family members' background, that is their livelihood, to be in the Ebony Park program. That's how we build Ebony Park, really. A lot of the students there are from the farming communities in and around Clarendon.
So you're saying there's targeted recruitment by heart, not just relying on passive
targeted, yes, it's not passive, it's targeted, because it is a very active part. As a matter of fact, the agricultural industry is a priority sector too, that we ensure that it remains buoyant. And so, and we're doing a lot of things too, Chairman, in terms of the innovation, a lot of AI related activities. We also do agro-processing at Ebony Park. So the students are making syrups, ketchups, sauces, and these are Bureau of Standards certified, and individuals can purchase them from the storefront. So a lot is happening in terms of innovation, and it is our students who are doing the labeling under instruction, you know, and really doing a lot of manufacturing and management within the Ebony Park space. So it is a space that we have a lot of pride in, and a lot of individuals recommend site visits for the Ebony Park institution.
Do you have site visits for MPs as well?
Certainly. If you need to be there, you just let us know, and we will definitely prioritize.
Because interestingly, South Manchester is closer to Ebony Park than is
yes. So I would welcome that.
Clarendon.
I would welcome a site visit of our Ebony Park facility.
So, and yeah, I would be very interested.
Just for the education, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to hear that there is targeted marketing and promotion of what you are offering at Ebony Park. But in terms of the education, as Member Clark said earlier, I am learning that now. I don't know how many persons in my constituency is aware that you have a base where people can stay and train and get certified.
Yes.
So
residential,
is it possible for you to, through the MP's office or otherwise, do some public education?
Yes,
so persons are aware, so we can make offerings and encourage others to go there.
Yes.
Because farming is not something that everybody run to, because they don't see it as being a nice job.
They're
it's a
still
dirty
thinking
job.
of the machete and
yes, so we are encouraging persons to get into the equipment and maintenance and all the different things. So I appreciate it for my constituency and for the wider members of our society.
Yes, and I just want to add that we do have a partnership with RADA as well to train extension officers to aid farmers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Before I come back to Mr. Clark, 2 questions. You mentioned 44% of your budget goes for training. Yes. Do I then assume that 56% goes for administration?
And administration is certainly very broad. We are the trust as we have procurement in terms of equipment. We have staff of about 1,500. We operate 26 institutions, 7 training-based interventions. And
so just
yes.
So like at Newport, for example, or Ebony Park,
it's
you would split the budget for that institution between administrative and actual
it would
training.
have to be, yes.
So that 44% would capture what is
44% would capture training resources. It would capture stipend. It would, Mr. Mullins, definitely training resources and stipends. Food and beverage, because we do provide lunch for our trainees as well. Yes, so those are accommodation, because we do have residential training across some of the training-based enterprises.
So all of that would be included in the training component?
It would be included in the training component, yes.
And PS, some years ago, I'm trying to remember when the ministry was pushing something called a sixth form alternative pathways program. Can you give us an update on that and give us an idea of the numbers of students who go through these alternative pathways?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. So we do operate the sixth form pathways program, pathways 1, 2, and 3, and that's where we do the promotion of the skills at the higher level. As the point was made earlier about the level 2 not being sufficient to kind of make the impact that the employers want. So within the sixth form pathways program, there's an opportunity for them to do level 3 in our high school, and then they move on to hard for the other levels. For this year, we have about 22,300 students in the pathways program. And that spreads across the secondary level institutions.
So it is these pathways that's delivering the level 1 and level 2 certifications?
More so level 3. Because they do level 1 and 2
are up to grade 11.
Up to grade 11, and then we create an opportunity for them to do further work. Or if they did not succeed at the level 2, we give them another opportunity within the sixth form pathways program to do that.
So when you give us that overall figure of 25,000 secondary school students being certified, that included both the ones up to grade 11 and the sixth form pathway.
This number is for the fifth form students,
the
grade 11. The 13,000 who have been certified over the 4 years, that's specifically to grade 11.
That's specifically 13,000, and then there would be a further, the difference between 13,000 and 22,000, or a further 22,000 in the sixth form pathways. So in other words,
these are the same students who move up. So they may be doing other
you would
subject
be double
areas.
counting them.
Right, so they wouldn't be in the the sixth formers are not included in this number. This is specifically to grade 11 cohort. But they have an opportunity to do level 3. Remember, we had promised now to give you the breakdown as to how many students are pursuing the different levels.
We'll
so you'll get
to
some
sort
specifics
out
from us. Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, I want to ask Dr. Ingleton, is Glendevan Center a part of that 7 institution
level 1?
That you are responsible for administratively?
Sorry,
it's a center.
You have to make a request, and then I can turn on your mic. Go ahead.
No, you made mention of the administrative 56% and what it entails, what it covers. You spoke of 7 institutions. I'm asking you if Glendevan Center is a part of that.
Glendevan is a community training intervention. So no, it's a partnership entity, not an institution of the trust, not owned by the trust.
Next question. I have lost contact with CAP.
CAP?
You're not the person that runs CAP?
CAP has been merged into the sixth form pathways program, so there's no CAP.
I ask questions sometimes not for myself, but for John Publica. These are questions that comes to me. The training, on-the-job training, heavy equipment, we find, Mr. Chairman, that countries like Canada, New Zealand, is asking for persons from third world countries or countries like Jamaica that they require heavy equipment operators. And we find that we're losing a lot of our truck drivers and heavy equipment articulated vehicle drivers, operators to these countries. Is there a niche program within HEART that is training these persons, these youngsters, so that we can send them off as part of our export program?
Yes, member.
Oh, let me turn on your mic. What I want to just add something to that. Not just the not just the operators, but the mechanics. Some years, well, I'm familiar with a heavy equipment operator who says CAT certified mechanics are scarcer than good gold, whether Caterpillar or other heavy equipment brands. The certified mechanics, which is only, I understand, a 12-month post-secondary training, and they start at something like $3,000 US. Start after 12 months post-secondary per month. And I want to add to the demand for the operators, the heavy equipment operators, also a demand for the mechanics.
Thank you so much for that. So the demand for the mechanics, that is certainly there, and we treat with those through JAGAS, that is the Jamaican German Automotive School.
That's one of your institutions?
That's one of our institutions, JAGAS. We do have training for the heavy equipment as well. We have 2 simulators that we would have purchased. So we do training for forklifting operations. The 2 simulators, we have one at the National Training Engineering Institute, that's NTI, on Ashanine Road in Kingston, and Port Maria Vocational Training Center. So that's where we have those 2. We also are working with truck drivers as well, doing forklift operations.
Sorry.
And we do get communication from the Ministry of Labor for individuals who are skilled in those areas for migration and overseas employment.
You see, Mr. Chairman, one of the reasons I raised the question is that, again, we have large projects, and I will take you to the perimeter road, wherein we have large amount of heavy equipment that is used heavily every day. We have youngsters who would have started their family, and they're not able to move away from the family setting. They have to provide for their family every day. And so an on-the-job situation is better for them closer to home. Yes. So whilst I can understand the 2 sites that you operate, I am asking myself the question, why is it not that I am seeing more youngsters siding up with a Chinese expat on an equipment, learning the moves, at the same time he can go home in the evening with dinner? That is what I'm asking.
Yes, and I can add to that, member, in that we work in partnerships for this as well. So we have partnered with Tankweld. So we have the Tankwell HEART Trucking Academy. And we train across beginner, intermediate, advanced level truck driving. So recruitment is happening through that channel.
Yes, madam.
But that when I look also in the corporate area or near Kingston, right?
Tankwell would be out on the ferry side, yes.
Right. So I think the question is that everything seems to be concentrated
in one area.
Largely.
But I'm now saying that you have excavator, you have bulldozers, all of those equipment that we are in need of these operators locally.
Yes.
Not even to say international, but locally. We are short on these operators. I am asking a question. The Chinese expat on the perimeter road and other projects have been here, and they spend an extended period on one project. Just imagine one youngster starting at the beginning. Within 3-4 months, he knows because him have the brain already how to do it. But we're not seeing us using what we have to make it better for us.
Okay.
So you're talking about the potential for on-the-job certification of those operators.
Exactly. So don't wait on the 2 little units that we can only host.
But
certain amount.
let me ask you something, because I suspect costs might be a prohibitive factor. Is it that these simulators are very expensive?
Yes.
Certainly they are, but we facilitate, what member is asking, we can facilitate that support through the on-the-job training. And so individuals who are on sites where these equipments are housed, we can come on site and facilitate on-the-job training in that
for
regard.
my information, what
Yes.
what would be the cost of one of these simulators for heavy equipment operator or truck operator?
We can tell you that. I'm getting that shortly.
Because, you know,
They are
as I said, I'd hear the
It's
price.
a tidy
But
piece of money, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry?
It's a tidy piece of money.
I know, but I'm an engineer. I tend to be more specific than these broad descriptions like tidy piece of money. I'd love to hear what it is, because I'd love to have one in Manchester, one in St. James, one in, distributed all over. Okay, the research is being
Yes,
done.
you'll get it momentarily.
I do know, Mr. Chairman, and I think Madam Dr. Ingleton is aware, or should be aware, that one is at Flankers in Montego Bay.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Chang had purchased one some
Yes.
time ago.
And we
but
have
that
one
is
at
just for the
Derrick
truck
Rochester.
driving.
JDF, that's with the
Right.
JDF program, yes.
So one is there. I know of one is that,
And
that one
we
is
do
there.
forklift in Derrick Rochester, which is down in the St. Elizabeth side as well.
But Mr. Chairman, again, heart, it mentioned heart, which speaks closeness. I would love to see heart holding more hands with the larger producers of certain, like the heavy equipment. Okay. So like the Sardine in Clarendon, the Tankwell that you speak of. And
yes.
The more we take two away from the precipice, the less we get them falling over, Mr. Chairman.
I agree.
That's all I really want to push.
That is,
but,
that
Mr.
is
Chairman, my last thing to Ministry of Education is that I will boast that I have the largest back-to-school treat event each year, the largest.
Relevance?
St. James Central, Jared Park, the entire West. And when I say the entire West, when you do the registration, people as far as Eastern and Western Westmoreland are there. Fine. And we turn back none. We share what we have. I am extending the invitation to Heart to be a part of this year's setup so that you can come in, advertise for registration, give out the information, and at the same time, Mr. Chairman, I want you to prepare a package for us, 63, so that we can place it in our office, our offices, so that when persons come, you can give them a pamphlet to say, look at this, and encourage the situation. Because whilst Heart get their subvention each year, I am still saying that if it is one student, one person, it is the same subvention.
Yes.
I would love to see that it bursts at the seam, that they come back here and ask us for a greater amount, because unless we get our workforce up to a standard, then we will always remain third world.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I have the figure for you.
Okay.
The simulator cost is $15 million per unit.
50?
15.
Oh, 15.
Yes.
Oh, that's less than a motor car. Than some motor cars. I really would suggest, because it's much cheaper to train on a simulator than it is to train on an actual heavy equipment or articulated vehicle or so on. Because those, to me, at that price, you should have at least one in every parish. So that we can train from the alternative pathways students for sixth form and so on. They'd be over 17, so they would be able to get their driver's licenses and stuff. I think that's something I would commend to you.
Okay.
Because I thought actually it was more costly than I think in the old days it used to be more costly than that. But with technology constantly evolving, it seems now quite accessible. So I would encourage you to put one at Newport, for example.
Okay. At Newport.
Yes, and in our report, in our report to Parliament, we will put that in.
Thank you.
So we're about wrapping up now. Any final questions for the education team? If not, PS, as always, thank you very much for making a special effort to be here today. I know there was a conflict with your program, but we managed to facilitate your participation. Thank you very much, and Dr. Ingleton and your team as well. And I look forward to, before too long, you do that hand-holding for the MPs and their offices, all 63 of us, so that we can be part of your recruitment team. Mr. Clark, final words? You wanted the benediction?
Whilst I want to say a big thank you and appreciation to the team from Heart and Education, I also want to add the contact for the person in my office, 876-433.
Do that one away, man.
078. I want to give them now so that they can reach out to her from now, so that we can put in a booth for them, Mr. Chairman.
07. You stopped at
0782.
433-0782. Okay. Name?
Yes. The PS had promised to give the
today
the website address for tertiary scholarship programs. Was it PS? You need to put request. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So for Jamaica, the link, you can go to the Ministry of Education website, and you can also type in TSAP, which is TSAP, Tertiary Student Assistance Program, .moey.gov.jm. That's tsap.moey.gov.jm. And for, of course, the Heart Summer Job Program, summer job, one word, heart-nsta.org, heart-nsta.org. So you can get us on our website. Please visit the website. I'm making an appeal to our young people in Jamaica. We do have opportunities for you to support you as you continue your learning journey. We know things are not smooth for some persons, and these opportunities in government are available to you, and I'm encouraging you to reach out to the Ministry of Education, reach out to your Member of Parliament, and access the support available. And of course, Chairman, you know student loan is also available, and they have removed the need for guarantors, another opportunity of equity to support our young people who may need to access support for tertiary learning. We really want to get our tertiary certification rate up in this country to drive the economic and social change that we desire. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. PS and Education team, as you shuttle out, I would invite PS Williams to just stay where you are, so that we don't waste too much time shuttling and switching seats. And I'd ask the education team if you would exit through the side door, so that you don't interrupt the team from Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure. Welcome, PS Williams and team. Could you introduce your team, PS Williams, and then quickly, similar to PS Troop, just give us the short 10 to 15 overview of your presentations. If you have, it looks to me, I originally saw the PowerPoint presentation and thought it was from the Ministry of Education, but I realized afterwards that it's from your ministry. So if you want to go use that as a basis to do the overview, and then after 10 or 15 minutes, however long it takes you to go through that, we would then move to questions. So over to you.
All right, so thank you so much, Chairman. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. We're quite happy to be here to provide some clarity to the questions that were raised. I won't be long in my introductions because we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation from which we suspect the questions will come. My name is Arlene Williams. I'm Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. And with me today From the Housing Agency of Jamaica Limited, right beside me, Mrs. Doreen Prendergast, who is the Managing Director. Members, if you could just indicate with a show of hands so committee members know who you are. Mrs. Rosemary Brown, Miss Simone Ornsby, Mr. Gavin Jackson, Mrs. Sasha Dare Gordon. And from the Central Ministry, we have Mrs. Orthreen Scarlett, who is Chief Technical Director, Mrs. Judith Rob Walters, our Principal Finance Officer, Ms. Christina Gardner, Mr. Stuart Panton, Ms. Nika Adams, Mr. Richard Cargill, and Mrs. Leandra Woolery. So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, informal settlements remain one of Jamaica's most persistent development challenges. It is rooted in long-standing issues of access to land, affordability of housing, population growth, urban expansion, and the desire of most Jamaicans to secure a place for themselves and their families. Government's response over the years has therefore sought not only to address the physical condition of informal settlements, but also to create pathways to security of tenure, social stability, and sustainable community development. So, Chairman and committee members, while the discourse today will center around Operation Pride and the presentation will be done very shortly by Managing Director, I want to take this opportunity to posit that the challenge of informal settlements extends beyond that program and beyond any single institution. Indeed, the solution requires a whole-of-government approach and the coordinated efforts of multiple stakeholders to include landowners, planning authorities, utility companies, local authorities, the security forces, and community organizations. So the government, through central ministry and agencies such as the Housing Agency of Jamaica and a key one, the National Land Agency, remain committed to advancing sustainable solutions to the issue of informal settlements, strengthening security of tenure for vulnerable Jamaicans, and ensuring that public resources are utilized in a transparent, accountable, and effective manner. So the Prime Minister, under whose ministerial direction the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development falls, has assigned Minister Robert Montague as the Minister in charge of land settlements and titling to give even greater levels of focus to these areas. And so we look forward to a productive engagement today as we address the questions that will be posed. And I now turn over, Chair, with your permission, to Mrs. Prendergast so that she can make the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pierce. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Today, I will begin by giving you a brief introduction to the Housing Agency of Jamaica Limited. The Housing Agency of Jamaica is a leading government entity that provides affordable housing. And our mission is to improve the quality of life of our residents in these communities through social transformation and by providing affordable housing solution, at the same time while maintaining our financial viability. Our mandate is to provide safe, affordable, and legal housing for all Jamaicans, and this includes both the regularization of informal settlements as well as the provision of infrastructure and land titles. And our core values spell I care, integrity care, accountability, respect, and excellence. Today, just to point you to some of the areas of work in terms of our priority areas of focus for the housing agency. We are a housing and development company, as I mentioned earlier. We issue certificates of title and transfer certificates of title. We seek to maintain our financial viability and sustainability. We undertake human capacity development and ensure that there is operational efficiency. Now, before I go into the full presentation, just to give you an overview of what will be presented, we were asked some questions about the Operation Pride program, and the Operation Pride program is segmented into greenfield developments and brownfield developments. And so we'll speak to those, we'll speak to the process to correct the issues that face these settlements, and the indicative timelines to do so, and the indicative costs to remedy these. But to start with the brownfield developments, on our books, there are 81 communities comprising our brownfield portfolio. And this has a total of 26,568 residential lots. Now, in the absence of a census, we...
If just for clarity, remember you're speaking to a wider audience who are following us on PBCJ. I think I understand the difference between brownfield and greenfield, but just in case some of our viewers don't, you might just want to start by defining the terms.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had intended to get there, but I will do so now.
Okay.
All right. Brownfield developments are those communities that develop from sites that were previously informally occupied. So what we would call squatted sites, and they were brought under the program. The greenfield developments are virgin developments where you go in, there are no squatted areas, and you do your planning and put in the infrastructure, and then these lots are sold to different purchasers. So the brownfield developments that I speak of, on our books we have 81 of those, and I said there are approximately 26,000, at least over 26,000 residential lots in these communities. When we use the census, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica average household size, which is normally used as 3.5 persons per household, we did some computation and we came up with approximately 80,000 to 93,000 persons in these 81 brownfield residential communities. Now, the indicative times over which these communities were formed spans back to 1996 to 2003. In terms of the greenfield communities, we have a map in the housing agency that lists all the Operation Pride communities, and we would have extracted from this that there are approximately 44 greenfield developments across 10 parishes, with an estimated 46,400 persons using the same statin computation on an average number of lots, 14,506 lots. When we look at these, we note that the largest developments, there are two very large developments, Whitehall 3 Westmoreland with 1,200 lots, and Beechertown St. Anne with 1,200 lots. I'm just doing an overview before I move the presentation. And in Kingston, Arnold Road would be our smallest. One at Arnold Road with 18 lots would have been our smallest development. When we combine both the brownfield and greenfield sites together, we have a total of 125 communities on our books, and 26,568 brownfield lots and 14,506 greenfield lots. Overall number of lots, 41,074 lots, with an estimated population of 131,437 persons. So just to give you some context, I'm going to go straight into the...
And those 100,000 fall within the 600,000 that you, on the slide where you said there are estimated 600,000 Jamaicans?
Yes, because, the National Squatter Survey that would have been done in 2008.
So this is yours in this schemes, the brownfield and the greenfield would be included in that 7.
It would not include the greenfields, but it would most definitely
include the brownfield. Okay.
Yes.
But the greenfield would address some of those who are, it would provide an alternative for some of the 600,000 living in informal settlements?
Not at this time, because those would have already been built. And many of those would have been built prior to 2008 when the census was, the
Okay,
survey
so
was done.
there's going to be over 500,000 informal persons living in informal settlements that you will not yet have anything towards their formalization.
Well, I wouldn't say not have anything, because some of these communities, there would have been interventions, and some of them would have been completed. I think we have about 13 that were completed, or 8 that were completed, and others that would have been partially completed. Their tenure is secure in that no one is taking them off the land, but where the challenge arises is the fact that some of them are devoid of adequate infrastructure.
And they won't have titles.
Some of them do, some don't. And as I go along, I will speak to
All
that
right,
which
well,
is
I
available.
won't interrupt you because
Yes,
maybe
yes,
I'm just impatient.
All right.
But move quickly because
Yes, all right.
we want to wrap up by 1 o'clock and I want sufficient time for questions.
Yes, all right. So one of the first questions that was asked was located within the fact that there is an estimated 600,000 Jamaicans living in informal settlements. And this data comes from the 2008 rapid squatter assessment that was done by the ministry with responsibility for housing. And it is also located in the national policy framework that the Planning Institute of Jamaica uses. And so we can see how they got the 60%, the 600,000, because they spoke of a 20% of Jamaica's population living in these communities. And as I mentioned earlier, 125 of these settlements are under Operation Pride. 81 brownfield, 44 greenfield. I'm going to do a visual display of the brownfield on a map. If you are able to look at the map, you'll see that the spread of these developments across the island, the most significant numbers being in Westmoreland, St. James, and St. Andrew. St. Andrew having the highest numbers of these settlements. And Manchester having...
Not a single one.
Zero, in terms of the brownfield. So I guess in Manchester there isn't much squatting taking place. I'm trying to move this. All right. In terms of the greenfield footprint, the greenfield developments, you would note that there's also a spread across the country, but there is none in St. James. St. James has no greenfield. All the brownfields, a significant number of brownfields are in St. James, but not in... So you would have said, and St. Andrew as well. Well, I wouldn't say St. Andrew isn't. Maybe it is counted as part of Kingston, because we would have done other settlements like the Pines of Karachi, and that is in St. Andrew. So you would have seen the spread across the two maps. The next question had to do with what is entailed in the formalization process. And if we were to look at the process as was conceived, you would have seen that the residents are organized in relation to provident societies, and these are registered bodies that they would have formed, and these provident societies were established to serve as the administrative arm of these developments. And they were very much involved also in the whole decisions that are taken regarding how the projects are developed, how it is financed, and who gets what allocation. So there's a whole community organization, and then there is planning and project development. And when we talk about planning and project development, we're talking planning, surveying, and designing. Preparing these development plans, doing your engineering designs, developing your costs and your schedules. And then the next stage has to do with community investments. The members would have contributed, would be contributing their funds towards the land and infrastructure development. And in recent years, or in more modern days, we would have established some arrangement with some financial institutions where they can actually go in and make their payments. And these contributions, it is what should be used to finance the infrastructure and the project implementation. And then the next phase pertains to infrastructure development. That is when now monies that have been collected are adequate, and these are used to engage contractors who would put in the roads, the water supply, the drainage, electricity, and the sewage infrastructure. And then the next phase has to do with the incremental community build-out, because progress is determined by the rate of funding in a large extent. So in some instances, if residents are paying up rapidly, it is more likely that there will be monies to engage the contractors to put in the infrastructure more readily. The infrastructure may be implemented in stages, so as I said, it's incremental development, so you would see the communities changing over time as time went by. And any additional financing that was secured could be pumped into this, but this would be seen as some form of bridge financing and would have to be covered also by the contributions made by the beneficiaries. And once they complete their payments, they would be given their splinter titles, they would do the transfers, and they have their certificates now in hand, and they are now legal landowners. So that's the process. We were asked about the number of operation price settlements across the various parishes, and I did speak to that, but this slide gives a little bit more information in that it tells the earliest time of initiation of some of these settlements. And as I mentioned, St. Andrew has the highest number, and the earliest initiation time was 1996, and it spans right up to 2003 if you look at it. So right across the parishes. And this is in relation to the brownfield developments in particular. The next question pertains to the status of completion in relation to land titling, road construction, and the provision of light and water in each community. And just to say that in terms of infrastructure, giving a status update on the infrastructure for the 81 brownfield settlements, approximately 8 of these were completed. 9 had some amount of completion, but they would have deteriorated over time because we put in the infrastructure, and what is expected after a while is that the municipal corporations would have taken over these developments. But sometimes that does not happen. So some of the infrastructure that would have been put in would have fallen back into a state of disrepair. And the agency comes under pressure to go back and spend again where this is concerned. So there are about 23 that are incomplete, and there are about 3 for which nothing has been done, and 1 project was discontinued. So this is giving you the idea of the spread across the parishes. But just to say that we have approximately 9,201 certificates of title in-house to be transferred to residents of these communities.
So what is preventing the transfer of these titles?
Well, as much as some of the prices of these lots are very heavily subsidized, you still don't have full compliance. You have persons after 20 odd years you would have been given a lot for 50,000 and still not having completed the payment for these lots. There are also estate matters, and there are boundary encroachments, because what happens in these communities, sometimes the agency would have gone in and done as-built surveys, and they would have used that to get out the titles. And you talk with the residents, and you show them their pegs, and you say, please manage this. When you go back, you may find that someone moves the peg, encroaches on another person's lot. And so there's a need again to resurvey, which is an additional cost. So sometimes because of some of these estate issues, and some of them are very challenging to be resolved, you end up not being able to hand over some of these certificates of title. Also, what you find is that there are some will tell you that them MPs are the ones who give them these lots and they're not paying for it. So that's another...
Good thing they're not in Manchester, so we can't get blamed for that.
All right.
But I'm just thinking, you know, I've been involved in some property development. Wouldn't it have been better to, once, for those that you have the titles, transfer the titles with a lien on the title, with a mortgage on the title, and, you know, then if they, so they could either clear it, get up, you know, a former NHT or a mortgage institution to clear it and expand. They would not have it available, so they could clear your balances, you hand over and being able to go on to the next project. But it seems where you are a sort of informal mortgagee or mortgagor, I'm trying to know which is it, where you are holding on to the title as your sort of collateral, physically holding the title. It leaves the thing in a sort of limbo because the occupier of the premises doesn't have the title that they can use to go to a formal institution and expand their property, you know, their home, formalize it, etc. Pay you out whatever balance you have, which is usually not a huge balance relative to the current value of the property. Have you considered doing that? Yes?
Chair, you seem to be very much in the know, you know, with the questions that you are asking.
No, I'm not.
And so
I'm just seeing what seems logical to me.
And I'm happy to note that there is no squatting in Manchester. But Chair, in terms of the question that you are asking about why is it so difficult and why is it that we're not transferring these 9,201 titles, Mrs. Prendergast will tell you that recently Cabinet wrote off 150 for those balances that had 150,000 or less. Those were written off, and this will affect about nearly 2,000 persons. So we should see that figure diminishing. So that process now is going through now where we are looking to see those accounts that were affected. So that is one of the strategies that we have employed.
Right, and I agree with the sort of de minimis balances, just transfer, write those off and transfer. But where there are more substantial balances, if it was even 200,000 or 300,000, there's no lot in Jamaica valued less than that in any of these schemes. So if you transferred it with a lien on the title, gave them the title, but with a lien on it, so if they wanted to use that collateral to go and do formal borrowing, they would have to pay out the 100,000 or the 200 or the 300,000 first from whichever mortgage. But at least they would have something that they could leverage now, because a lot of times they go to do business, they want to expand their homes, etc. If they had a title, they would be in so much stronger position that I would ask you to consider that as a strategy.
We note your recommendation, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to say, if you go into some of these, Aki Walk was one that was just done. But just to say, if you go into some of these communities, the houses are substantial.
Sure, I have seen them.
They are substantial. Yes, some persons may be motivated to come in because, as PS mentioned, the amnesty that is being granted is not the first time. You have some persons who would have got a write-off of 50% already and still have not done right in terms of what they are to do. So I don't know if they are sufficiently seized with the importance of having their certificates of title, but we do take your
There may be an education process because the value that they have in that property is millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars in some cases. And the balances are a few $100,000. So it really, some education process has to take place to encourage them to take over those titles. I see Mr. Cloud. I'm going to ask him to just allow quickly.
Yes, all right. Let me just take you through quickly. So the next question had to do with how much did the government of Jamaica spend on formalizing activities over the past 3 financial years. And I have to answer this question within the context of how the housing agency operates. The housing agency is a land and housing development company. It is wholly owned by the government, but what many persons don't know is that it is self-financing. So as much as we have a social mandate as part of what we do, we are self-financing. We fall under our parent ministry, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, and we do develop greenfield sites and sell them on the open market while we do brownfield upgrading. Our income comes from the sale of housing and lands. Sometimes we do service lots, and from fees that we would get from like conveyancing and so when we do all of what we do. And we reinvest to ensure that we can try to remain sustainable and viable. So that is the context within which I would answer the question. But just to say, for the past 3 years, the HAJ would have expended 345 in 2023, 2024, 345,269 and plus dollars in the brownfield developments, and would have collected 240 million plus from residents. For 2024, 2025, there was some advocacy to the government to get some help, and we got 129 million for a specific project, the Eden Park project in St. Mary, as specified. And we would have spent 337 million plus, and the residents would have provided 305 million plus. For 2026, the HAJ would have spent 2025, 2026, over 242 million and collected 284 million from the residents. And the overall total, HAJ for the 3 years would have spent 925 million, 0.7 million, and the residents would have provided 830.3 million. Now, in terms of how this expenditure is broken down, I wish to state that we have gone ahead and forged partnerships with entities that can assist us in improving these brownfield developments. One such good partner is the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and you can appreciate that a number of the tourist workers may reside in some of these, especially in St. James and Hanover and these areas. So the Tourism Enhancement Fund would have given us 282 million for one of our projects. And the agency would have also spent 157 million over the time on our existing sewage plants that serve these communities. A number of these sewage treatment plants are obsolete, and so a significant monthly, we have to be spending millions of dollars to try to stave off environmental
Where does the water for these communities come from? Not NWC?
Yes, they would have water from the NWC.
So why doesn't the NWC take over the sewage plants?
Because just like the municipal corporation, when you put them in, sometimes you have to operate them for a while. And then sometimes the standards that were originally accepted are not accepted. You have to go back and retrofit. And they get to the stage where they are now so old that you would have to go in and retrofit them again at new standards for the NWC to...
But the NWC, they're in the business of doing that. NWC does that for schemes like Harborview that were built, decades and decades ago. They must be they went through a couple cycles of different plants, and then they're always expanding. But they're in the business. They charge the same for sewage disposal as for water. So rather than HAJ is struggling.
But I don't think it's all sites that they would have been charging for sewage. And so these...
No, man, as long as it is provided. Remember, not everywhere has central sewage. So, but I know a little bit about it. I used to be chairman of the Water Commission. But I'm just suggesting, HAJ, this is not your core area. You should probably try and hand that over to...
Well, we have been working with the NWC from last year or so. We had undertaken some joint site visits to all the sites, looking at the plans and coming up with the scope of work and to price them so that as the agency, as I said, as the agency finds itself with some monies, then we can start with the lowest hanging ones to have them upgraded. But it is quite a challenge for us where these sewage treatment facilities are concerned, and in staying in the environmental guidelines to ensure that all things go well. So that's the breakdown. We have teams out in the field going in to most sites, say 3 times per week, and there are overheads associated with that in terms of mileage, accommodation, community meetings, that sort of thing. So salaries and all of that. Because we have staff also in 2 regional offices outside of the head office who assist us on the ground. So the next, just to give you an idea of an indication of the current price value. No, I've skipped a slide. Let me go back. Yes. All right. So it is this. Just to look at the brownfield component of our business and look at this slide. Oh, that slide is missing. Okay, there I am. Just to make some price point comparisons to give you an idea of the time value of some of these monies that were paid, or that were charged for some of these lots. We pulled out a few examples. We've pulled out one for Spanish Village, which is $35,000 that was charged 15 years ago. And we applied the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, at 4% to see what the present value would be. And what we are seeing is that today, that lot sold for $35,000. What the person would have been paying today is $63,000 for that lot. And we did that for one in Donaldson, one in White House with $100,000. Today they would be paying $180,000. Just to give you an idea of the real-time value of the price of those lots. The next question was asked, is the HAJ still incorporating additional informal settlements into the Operation Pride program? The emphatic answer is no, because it is already quite a task for the agency to manage those that are on the books. So we are not adding any new ones to this number. Our priority is, where feasible, to address those 81 in the agency's portfolio. And we also support the government's response to informal settlements through land regularization, technical support, policy implementation, and interagency collaboration. So we are seeking to have those 9,201 land titles currently in our custody, distributed, and we are seeking to advance security of tenure through the transfer of these titles. As PS mentioned, squatting requires a comprehensive approach to addressing it. It needs a sustainable national framework and dedicated financing, and of course, coordinated action through the various institutions for us to really make a significant difference. And I had a slide on what we were doing to strengthen our financial foundation as an agency. And just to say that the housing agency has been seriously assessing its projects to see, has been seriously assessing its projects to ensure that each project can yield sufficient revenue and bring back, give the agency a viable return. We have also done some strategic settlement of some of our portfolio. For example, the Greater Portmore Mortgage portfolio and some lands at Luana. These were transferred to the NHT for some previous sums that were were borrowed in relation to the Operation Pride program in past years, and covering 3 loans of about 907 million. And we are also forming strategic partnerships with like the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the Jamaica Social Investment Fund to help to fill the gap on the ground in terms of infrastructure provision and service provision. So basically, that takes me to the end of our presentation. I want to thank you for listening.
And thank you. You've given us quite a lot of information here today. I am looking at the time left, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to do justice to the material that you've presented in the time, because I know this is an area of great interest. Members, let me ask you, do you think we should impose upon the team to come to the next meeting so that we can deal with it properly, or we should try and clear off, see if we can run through it? I'm particularly disappointed. This suggestion was made by Member Newell, and he's not here today. I know he had a keen interest in this issue. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, Chairman, I mean, thanks to the team at HAJ, but this issue of Operation Pride and also other announcements by the Prime Minister and others about the regularization of informal communities as a policy.
Right, and I don't think we had intended to restrict to Operation Pride only.
No, exactly. So I would your suggestion on bringing them back, because it's a lot to go through also to read, and even though the presentation, but where questions from this side, from the members, I'm sure that there is a lot. I mean, just Member Clark alone will take up the rest of the time that is here. But also, if we could extend it also, Chair, since we're going to have them come back through the PS, if we could get a report on the HOPE program, since we're going to bring them back, and they're the parent ministry.
The other housing settlement.
The HOPE program, which is the ones that are done through the HOPE Secretariat, the individual houses within the various communities.
Well, what maybe I could just ask the PS, how many other programs within the ministry addresses the sort of formalization of housing solutions, whether on a community-wide basis or on an individual basis? What programs are within the ministry to do this, in addition to this Pride?
Okay, so Chair, thanks for that question. As you would have said, we have the HOPE program that is administered through the ministry, as well as we do have a national squatter management unit within the ministry that deals with land settlements as well. In the National Land Agency, we do have keen attention to land settlements, and so we can provide an update on that as well. So it's not only through the central ministry, it's really through all
through the National Land Agency as well?
Yes, which deals with land titling and all of that.
So what I would suggest is that at our next meeting, if you could add those additional programs in our presentation, just a status update, and then we deal with the whole topic of housing settlements and titling assistance for those who don't have registered or any type of title to unlock some of this huge value that is there and currently, inaccessible to the owners or residents of these housing of these houses, really, of their homes. So I would ask that we have a further session, and then we could ask questions on the overall, get a sense of the overall scope of the challenge and all the various solutions that are being applied to it. But I would say that, as a manager, looking just as what was presented today by Housing Agency of Jamaica, it is a difficult task ahead of you, especially as a self-financing agency. Because it would seem to me if you're going to only proceed on the basis of your own internal resources and the contributions, this is going to take generations to complete. I think there has to be some injection of external funds to bring to accelerate the infrastructure, bring each settlement, each one of these projects to a close, and then there's some whole-scale transfer of titles with a lien on it, and then those can even be sold to commercial lenders, so to take them off the books of the HAJ so that HAJ can move on. But the way we're proceeding now, I think it will take generations, and it's getting complicated by the fact that the initial persons are dying, then it gets tied up in estates and so on, which, once something goes to the Administrator General, it's a whole another struggle to get it out of there. Yes?
So, Chair, I would want to leave us, while you say we're to come back, and we are amenable to doing that, but I want to leave the committee members and the members of the public with some hope as well. So even while we look at what the HAJ has presented today, we know that it extends beyond the HAJ, and so the ministry and the government, I would have said that a minister has been given this specific responsibility for land titling and settlements, and so there is now even a more increased focus on having these persons regularized and them having their titles. And so the government will make an announcement very soon, because I do know that for the various squatter management, squatter settlements, that the files are being reviewed. The information has been provided to us by the HAJ, and we still need some more information from them. The investigations as to what it will take to, put in the necessary infrastructure. And we're talking about billions of dollars, and even while I have an indicative figure, the investigations are not yet completed. it is a tidy sum that we will have to provide. And so the approach, we are looking to see how these areas can be regularized over a period of time. And the minister, either the Prime Minister or Minister Montague, will shortly make an announcement on that. I want to also say that the situation, while it really is challenging, I just want to provide just updates that we got from the National Land Agency, that there are approximately 379 land settlements across the island, representing 62,690 parcels of land across Jamaica, and already 45,742 parcels are titled. So 16,948 parcels remain to be titled, and it's going to take a very joined-up effort. We will need the efforts from the members of parliament. We would have mentioned partnerships with places like institutions such as the TEF, JSIF, all of those. You would have mentioned the National Water Commission. In my opening statements, I would have said that it is going to take a collaborative, joined-up kind of effort. And I think all the parties are on board. Soon we will be having the meetings with the various members of parliament. And even though the squatting is not so much in your area, Chair, we would want to have some of your input as well when we have that meeting that Minister Montague will shortly convene. And so efforts are being made.
What I would say to you, PS, I don't think you should think that this committee is taking an adversarial approach to the problem. We all appreciate the tough task that the HAJ and the ministry has in this regard. And although it may not appear on your map in Manchester, trust me, we have a lot of informal housing and untitled housing and family land that has been splintered up informally over generations. And we've had many cases where people are being murdered over these things. So we all MPs have an interest in resolving this. But I would just say that this committee is sympathetic to the challenge you have. And what we want to do is, in our report at the end of the day, if necessary, we would recommend that more resources be placed in these agencies that are resolving these things. Because I must tell you personally, I don't even like the term squatter. To be talking about 1 in every 5 Jamaicans in that indignified way is something that doesn't sit well with me. I understand what we're trying to convey, but I don't even like the term. And I think we should find another way to describe so many hundreds of thousands of our fellow citizens who, there but for an accident of birth, any of us in here could be in that situation. So I don't want you to think we're not trying to throw cold water on the efforts of the ministry or the agency. We are very interested in finding a solution, and as a committee, we can bring to Parliament and it's the budgeting process our own support and recommendations for more resources, more financial resources to be allocated and more assistance to be provided by parallel agencies like the Water Commission, who are better able to take on some of the management of like the sewage plants and even the rebuilding as necessary of the sewage plants. So we're not at all adversarial or critical. We understand, and we are hopeful that there will be a solution for this, because it's important for every MP and for every Jamaican, because no matter what your circumstances are, somewhere not far from you is an informal community. And, and all the social problems that can often emerge in these situations. So the idea of bringing you back isn't to be just a nuisance, but we want to help in the search for solutions to this national problem, which we can't allow to carry over into the next generation. It's already been with us for generations. Part of it, history of slavery and colonialism, where we came out of it. Minister Grange was just this week talking about reparations. So this is descendants of enslaved peoples who we're now calling squatters, but we're in that sense continuing the indignity and the unfairness of a situation that we all inherited. So let's wrap up for today, and our next meeting is scheduled for the 15th of July, which will probably be our last meeting before the summer recess. Members, would you suggest I think we have the Students' Loan Bureau scheduled for that day, but which was to wrap up on the tertiary side. They couldn't come today. And then we would start with the ministry to wrap up on the housing, the informal housing settlement challenges.
So, Chair, if I may be allowed to say, I don't want you or any member in this House to think that the committee is being adversarial. Throughout the years, we've had an excellent relationship with the various committees in Parliament, and so we do appreciate your input. We note the lean on the titles. These are some of the strategies that we are employing, and we do look forward. We value, because the MPs are on the ground, so we value their expertise and their knowledge and the suggestions that they will bring, and this is the approach certainly in the ministry and what I encourage in the agency as a long-standing tradition to work very, very closely with all the persons, and the MPs are key. So I want to make that very, very clear, that when we are coming back here, we do not take it as any adversarial approach, Chair. Thank you.
I'm happy for that. All right, thank you. Thank you for your patience today, and thank you for your attendance. And are we confirming the meeting that's already scheduled for the 15th? We would have back the ministry and agencies. Oh, you have another?
Chair, the MD is saying to me that already she has a board retreat scheduled for the 15th, so that will not be possible. And I too will have to consult with the National Land Agency, because I'll have to bring them here as well.
Mr. Clark, you had a suggestion?
Mr. Chairman, we would have closed the sectoral debate yesterday. We do not know how long. Remember, we're going on break.
Yes, that's why I said I anticipate the 15th will be the last meeting. Remember, the committees can still meet, but I don't want to go beyond the 15th, because I know that's about the time.
I would suggest that we go for when we come back after the break.
For the housing agency, we have already scheduled a meeting for the 15th.
Whatever meeting, Mr. Chairman, you may find yourself without the quorum that is required if the break is announced.
Well, we can take that on advisement, but we have been having challenges scheduling the Student Loan Bureau, and we finally got a confirmation of them for the 15th. So I really don't want us to change that. That was decided from the previous meeting.
Oh, reasonable. And seeing that the unavailability of the HAJ, so why not bring them back after the summer break?
We can bring back the HAJ after, but I'm just saying.
Just as a whole. So deal with
the whole housing ministry.
Right, dealing with the issues that we are here. Right. Not just the HAJ, but...
So we bring them back in September?
In September. And we just deal with the SBL
and just deal with the SLB at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, point taken. All right, PS, we will contact you further down a couple of months' time. We have a lot of chance to prepare, but it looks like we will see you again in September. Thank you very much. Members, we had a couple of items on the agenda. Can we approve this annual report of the PAAC? We have been back and forth with it. It's not a controversial item.
Approved. So moved, Chairman.
I'm moving for the approval of the annual report of the PAAC. This is the 25 to 26 year.
And seconded by Member Clark.
Member Clark?
For?
The annual report, which we've been trying to.
Annual report.
We're just moving for it to be forward. There's nothing controversial in it. It's just reporting on the work between 25 and 26.
By Member Phillips, seconded by Member Clark, sir. So you know, Member. Seconded, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And the minutes of the meeting of May 27th. Is it the 27th? Sorry. May 27th. It was a little pale on my copy. It was circulated. It's fairly concise, although the print is very fine. But can we take it as read? Any corrections? Dr. Dawes so moves. Anybody can second? Thank you. The minutes are adopted. The matters arising, I don't think there are any matters arising from that meeting. So we can move to item 8. Any other business? There being no other business, the date of next meeting is the 15th of July, 10 a.m. in this chamber. And it's just left for me to thank members for being here today, notwithstanding all the demands of graduations, etc. Thank you very much. Hold on. Oh, members, before you leave, having approved the report, could you just put your signatures on it before walking out? Again. It's being passed around. All right, a motion for the termination of the meeting. Second. Thank you.
In the Breath of Life, Saturdays and Sundays at 7:30 a.m., Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5:30 a.m. on PBCJ, the People's Station.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow starting today.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
To fight crime and violence in your country, your government has invested over $9.7 billion into national security systems. This includes the construction and renovation of dozens of police stations, the acquisition of critical security equipment such as patrol vessels and police vehicles, the recruitment and training of more police officers, and the build-out of the Jamaica Defense Force. Your government is investing in your safety. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica is changing right before our very eyes. Across the island, billions are being invested into our road networks, from farm and community roads to major roads and highways. Dozens of communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica are receiving access to reliable potable water for the very first time. And thousands of Jamaicans have become homeowners thanks to the historic shifts in policies of the National Housing Trust, making it easier for Jamaicans to receive funding. Not to mention the record number of houses being built. Never dreamed you would own a home? No matter your circumstance, home ownership is possible for you, thanks to the government's new social housing program specially designed to meet the needs of poor Jamaicans at no cost to them. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Send the something and come back. Back to sender! God, I thank you so much.
Miracles await and miracles abound. Tune in every Sunday at 7 a.m. for your share of the Miracle Revival Hour with Reverend Dr. Blair. Come for the word, stay for the worship. Right here on PBCJ.
Miracle worker, work one for me.
Road safety impacts your life, your well-being. Almost all of us do some form of commuting on a daily basis, whether a pedestrian, whether a motorcyclist, whether a private or public passenger vehicle. We are integrated and involved in the road network, in the traffic system. And if it is not safe, then there are going to be consequences that none of us are going to like. Your well-being, your physical body is important to you, to all of us. And if there comes a chance or misfortune that you are involved in a crash or a collision, and that's greatly impacted, even the ability to walk, to run, like how you used to be able to do things with your body that you used to be able to do before you were involved in a crash or a collision, is important to you, not just in June, which is the month that is dedicated to road safety, but every month, every day of the year. We need to take due care in ensuring that once we leave home, we reach home like we left, or if not better. The number one tip that I am going to highlight is to always assume that the persons around you in their vehicles are not as good a driver as you are. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt that they are going to stop, that they are not going to drive or cut you off on the road. Ensure that you are so alert and prepared, because they say, you know what, this driver might do this. This pedestrian might actually run across the road. Sometimes what happens is that we say to ourselves, they can't really do this or that, they must stop at the red light, and then we'll find ourselves involved in a situation that we don't want to. So that's the number one tip I'm going to highlight. Ask yourself, what if this driver, this road user, should do something that would put me or them at risk, so I'm prepared for it. Another one, we always have to repeat this: speeding, improper speed. Speeding increases the likelihood that if you're involved in something, in an incident, that you're going to be physically damaged or your vehicle is going to be damaged, that there's loss of life, time and money. Tip number 3, wear your safety belt. Sometimes you're a great driver, you're doing the right thing, you're observing the rules of the road, but there's another motorist that isn't. They could collide in your vehicle, and it's your safety belt that's going to minimize the amount of harm, damage done to your body. So wear your safety belt, not just as a means of avoiding a ticket, but to keep yourself safe. Another tip, how closely we follow vehicles on the road. A lot of times we tailgate, even when we're driving at high speeds. So as soon as the person in front of us has to slow down or come to a stop, we now realize that we are now in a race for time to not rear end the other motorists. And sometimes it's not just us, sometimes the person behind us is following us too closely. So we have to leave more of a cushion in front of us to give that person behind us